New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me. Yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, oh, I'm so honored to have you back with me. And if this is your first time joining, a big, warm-hearted welcome to our program. I want you to know that you can join this conversation at any point by just dropping a little note or comment in our comment box. And I just want to launch into today's topic or theme. Today, our theme is the many faces of grief. The many faces of grief. And I have explained this, and I'll explain it again, that grief is caused by loss. And we suffer a myriad of losses in so many different ways that sometimes we're not even aware of those losses that seem small but really impact us and leaves us in an emotional state. The beautiful aspect of this, of grief, is that grief's superpower is healing. And just back to the losses for a minute. Yes, of course, the death of a loved one or a friend or someone we hold dear is a tremendous loss that leads to really life-impacting grief. But we also have, loss of relationships, a loss of a job, hopes and dreams, a career that we so loved, that is gone because of maybe aging or because you could not do that job any longer. And we're also looking at body image. That's a loss as we age and mature, the changes that are taking place there. So as I said, grief is caused by loss. And here to move the needle on bringing grief out of the closet. It's the elephant in the room that doesn't get talked about. So let's talk about it. Let's take the energy off of it. Let's befriend grief. Let's make grief our friend, because there's no way that you can go through a loss and grieve and come out as the same person. You come out as a different person, knowing more about yourself, being in touch with what you want, what it is that brings you joy or satisfies your life. So I don't want to take too much time because we have a beautiful guest who can't wait to delve into this subject of the many faces of grief. And my guest today is Mika Leone Pettit, and she's a health practitioner and an energetic alignment counselor, author, and teacher. And she holds a bachelor's degree in health sciences, and she holds a master's degree in metaphysical science. Doesn't that sound just rich and rich? She is currently in a doctoral program at the University of Sedona in transpersonal counseling. She has over 24 years in the field of wellness and beauty, alternative methods of healing, and also a license with esthetician. So she's going to be beautiful, you know that. So anyway, Mika just has so much to share. She also has a podcast, and the title of her podcast is How to Heal. So I think that is a good place to bring my special guest in, Mika Leone Pettit. Mika, welcome. Thank you for agreeing to be here today with me.
Hi,
here
honey.
on For Grief. Yes.
Always good to talk with you.
Yes, Mika, I thought we could start with maybe you're just sharing a little bit about your history, your story, how this has brought you here to really want to delve into the many faces of grief.
Well, my story, I got a really eclectic background, everything from military to administration to sales. I got into natural health studies. I've always one of those little kids that I avoided cough syrups and aspirins, anything that was pharmaceutical over the counter. I naturally kind of avoided. And in my 20s, I got involved with working at a health food store, and that totally changed my life around. I'd already started to study things like aromatherapy and flower essences and things like that, but I got into more of the actual what to eat and why you're eating it and all the different supplements and herbal blends, all that kind of stuff I got into after I started working at this health food store up in Washington State. And that's kind of leaned over as well, because at the time I was suffering with eczema, which was, I had an issue on the skin, mostly my legs. And I had a girlfriend of mine that kind of helped me with that. And I decided with the stuff that I learned from that, I wanted to go to aesthetic school. So while I was in doing at the health food store, I was also in aesthetic school at the same time. And those two kind of combinations of things, learn about the natural side of things and learning about the skin and the wellness stuff on that side. By the time I graduated from aesthetic school, I was ready to go into naturopathy. So then that led into my naturopathy degree, where I got my bachelor's in natural health studies. And towards the end of, towards 2016, I decided that I want to combine what I have been learning all the time for hands-on work, health and wellness, nutritional, all those aspects, aromatherapy and everything. I want to combine it with the spiritual aspects of the self, because a lot of times those things are kind of separated from each other. And I wanted those to be combined, and not just the body work, but people to feel the energetic patterns and the reasons behind what was happening to them. So that's when I crossed over into getting my degree in metaphysical science. And so now I'm working through my dissertation and transpersonal counseling. So it's a combination of all my years of experience, from everything from health, wellness, and beauty, into the spiritual aspects of the self, and those transpersonal subtle bodies that people normally, just like with grief, that you work with. Currently, with my degree, I'm working through and managing a stem cell clinic here in Lake Chapala, and we get to see all kinds of people here. So all my background gets to help with what they're eating when they're going through their treatments, how they're feeling mentally, energetically. And a lot of the people that we are working with naturally have grief on many levels. I've I've also seen it in just being an esthetician, a body worker. The stories that you hear, whether it's from people wanting the look that they had when they were in their 20s, wanting what can I do about my skin to make my skin look the way that it did before? What can I do to make my body work the way that my body used to work? So I've heard this type of thing on many levels throughout my life, and now it's kind of a culmination of all of it coming together in this practice today, because now there's lots of mental aspects that go along with this too, and what people hold on to when they are going through what they're going through.
Yes, yes. I was going to say, so it even though I know you were saying that you're working in a stem cell clinic, and yes, there's of course the treatment that we focus on, but there's a body, there's a patient there for that treatment. So you wind up, yes, not just administering treatment, but you're really caring.
Yeah, and you have to feel that for them. Yes, and you really do have to be that way for them, because by the time they get to our clinic, they have seen so many doctors. They had been around so many people that have either told them that whatever they're experiencing, they're not experiencing them.
Right.
Yeah, and they feel like they haven't been heard.
Right. And I was going to say, normally anything that's outside of, and I'll just use the word Western medicine here in the US, yes. And stem cell treatment is on the cutting edge. Would you say that that's not the recommended normal course of treatment that doctors recommend? So therefore, these patients, as you say, have been through, I'll just say the word that we all know, they've been through the ringer. They have. So they're coming to you in even a more fragile state.
Exactly.
And so with your work and your different modalities, how does that, Mika, how does that come into play? What modalities of treatments that you know, what modalities have you tried that you feel works the best? Or
yeah, for one of the main things that we do, we make sure they have sound healing on. Sound healing passes through any barrier that you could put up. You don't have to believe in sound healing in order for it to work, because it travels through us. We think we're not solid individuals. We are actually just vibrating at a certain frequency. And if you put sound into an atmosphere, it will automatically shift the levels or the vibration of that environment. So just one of those things like that is something that we make sure we add when we're doing the treatments.
So how is your sound healing? Are there Tibetan bowls? Is there drumming? You know, there's so many.
There's a little bit of everything. There's frequencies there. We did have a drum. We have one of those little steel drums, but there are frequencies that we put on while people are going through their treatments there. And also too, as you will know, there's also things like you're cleaning your space. And we're going to get into that a little bit more too. I wanted to go through some of the things, like, for instance, we have children that have been at our stem cell clinic. They're coming there to heal themselves. And these kids are just starting life. I mean, as young as 5, we've had in the clinic, and 16 and 7.
So many questions I could ask around that.
So these kids are right. They're missing out on whether it's playing with their friends, whether it's doing sport activities in school or something that they were used to doing but they can't do anymore because of the sickness, or whether it's their parents, because we've had families that they've been sick and they brought the kids that have been sick. So the kids are missing their mothers, or they're missing the way that their family was before, everybody was sick.
Right. And you just touching on the kids, that's really close to my heart. And I really do want to do a program on how children grieve and how we can support, not even support. It's like our children look to us to learn everything. And grief is no different. They are looking to us to learn how to grieve. So I'll bring you back for that program, but I will let you continue because sound healing is uh, so vital. And Mika, what you say, that sound healing is really a part of our everyday life with music.
Yeah, and we get a lot of sound noise is the problem. We're getting a lot of frequencies that are coming in that are blocking what we should naturally be able to tap into and tune into. So we have to reset our environment to get it to harmonize and work with us instead of working against us. That's
Mhm.
something we constantly have to do now with all the sound noise that we have. That's part of my dissertation, is also is actually the human potential through sound and psychology. So, because, and that's one of the reasons why I like to use sound so much, because of the fact that it doesn't matter what you believe in. Sound doesn't
Yes.
care what you believe in. It works regardless.
Has no sound is there. Sound there. And you're so right. We're just water vibrating with whatever. If a big truck goes past, we vibrate to that. Like, oh,
Exactly, so that's why when you bring in healing like that, then it cuts through all the layers of what people think, the blocks that oh, I don't know about this, or I'm overthinking that. You don't have to worry about those blocks when you're working with
right,
sound.
right. Sound healing. Sound healing is one of those almost like aromatherapy. Your olfactory. You have no control over that. The memories, things flood in from that aromatherapy. Yes. So.
Exactly, your oldest sensory organ. And
Yes.
yeah, there's no turning it off just because oh, I don't know if this works, or do I believe in this? So I think that helping people cut through all of that noise to get to
Mhm.
where they need to do in their healing is very important. So along with that, I also wanted to mention some of the other things that I've
Yes.
about grief, because it floats around in your emotional body.
Yes.
So some people will hear talk about, and this, recently they've talked about like a pain body, but really it's really your emotional body that we're working with. You may have a lot of pain and you might feel like it's it's got its own entity, but no, it's pretty much the emotional body. And if you don't
Mhm.
work with that and get that stuff moving, because energy, of course, is like energy in motion. You have to get that stagnant energy out of there and moving around. So, for example, staying in and when you have to think about this, you also have to think about it as being a conscious practice on a regular basis, because
Mhm.
you can't just do it once or do something like a sound. So for instance, we have regularly here sound baths, and so these sound baths are great, but then what are you going back home to? What are you
Right.
exposing yourself to once you get back? So you have to keep these emotions flowing. So same thing with grief. You have to find a way, if something is giving you grief, now how do I get that energy to move and not stay stagnant in my auric field? So perfect example of another way of grieving, and I think you mentioned this at the beginning of your show, is staying in relationships that are not healthy for you. That's the same thing as your environment. If you're
Right.
staying in a toxic environment constantly, how do you expect these emotions to process themselves and do what they need to do so that they travel on and either transform? Like I said, energy just transforms, it never dies, but you want that energy to transform into something else that's more positive for you. So how are
Mhm.
you going to do that if you're going back to an environment that's unhealthy for you? I just had this experience myself. I had to leave a toxic relationship. It was not healthy for me. I know it wasn't. And I was even grieving the relationship before I left it.
Right.
So yeah, and that's a lot of times that's what happens. Even if you don't leave, you're still in that environment because you're grieving something that you're not getting from that relationship. You're grieving from something that you think you may never have, or you've accepted the fact that I'll just stay and bear and grin it and deal with it.
Well, I do feel too that there's a mental process that we all go through. Ending relationships, I myself know that personally from having I was a long term marriage. So you're so right that we grieve what that relation, what we thought it would be, the loss of that dream of having that relationship. that dream of being, elderly together, or whatever my dream was, or going to the kids' weddings together, as a couple, grieving what was really lost, even before I actually left the marriage. So for me, there was a lot of grief before leaving
Exactly.
the relationship, and more relief after, really. But I think because I was in that grief and allowed myself to grieve and did have therapy to move through that. So thanks for that realization.
Yeah, and I even had a girlfriend recently I talked to. She was talking about how she feels like she's in a grief because she no longer has any family. She feels like she has no connection to the world to keep her even close for friendships. She feels like she's distant from everybody and don't and feel alone in the world, basically.
Right, Mika. I have a client, couple clients that have had this. They just said, they use the word abandoned. I just feel so abandoned. I don't have anyone. So working with people to really cultivate new relationships, or assessing what you do have. It's so easy to really focus on what we don't have, and sometimes just helping someone come around to see what they do have, the people they
Mm,
do have in their lives, and leaning
yes.
more on them, and not being afraid to ask for what you need. It increases your chances of getting it. With
Right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Oh gosh, Mika. So continue. Yes, we're getting into the emotional body. You said some people call it.
Yeah. So we're gonna start talking more, and we're gonna look at the chart soon. But grief is a frequency. So
Mm,
if he wants to pull up the chart, and we can show how if you vibrate at that frequency, there, as you can see, grief here is 75. Now, when you start getting up to acceptance, reason, and love, look how higher the numbers are. And that's the kind of stuff that you're going to magnetize and attract in your life. Love, joy, peace. But if you keep resonating down here where grief and fear is, it's almost like a perpetual cycle
mm.
of just and then people wonder, well, why am I still feeling this way? Why is it still happening? Because it's a low vibration or a low frequency, and it's very easy for it to stay in that range. If they even have a over the years, I forgot exactly where I got this from, but they have it where they say in 17 seconds, if you don't change your mindset or what you're thinking about in that 17 seconds, it loops again, right back into that loop pattern of what you're already thinking. So that's a
Right.
perfect example of, yes, it's if you are down here and you're not doing anything to focus consciously on how you're going to get out of that pattern, then all it's going to do is loop back into a cycle again. And
Okay.
so these negative emotions become stored. So you're literally programmed until you dissolved what's programmed there and replace it by something else. So that's why also reason why we were talking about, being a body of water, and we're a lot mostly water. And that's why
Yes.
you also want to use that high quality water in there, because it's going to store memories and it's
Hmm.
going to store those vibrations in your body. So you also want to make sure you're flushing through with good water as you're going and you're shifting your frequency and going into a higher emotional state. And then you can even charge your water with these words of high emotional states. I'm sure you even saw Dr. Emoto's um,
Oh yeah.
his book, right,
Yes.
around talking to your water, talking to
Right.
your plants. And we're going to go into some more of the things that you can do for your grief. But I also wanted to also talk about how we can look at it as an energetic blueprint in the body. So when I do soul contracts, you guys may want to pull up that chart. I
Okay.
can
Well,
tell
one
you,
second. So I was
sure.
going to say, before Joe pulls up that chart,
Yep.
Joe, I want to go back to the emotional chart, but I needed you to explain that chart so that when people look at it, they know what you're referring to when you
hmm
said 75. It's
Oh,
$75. I'm
Oh,
getting.
yes.
Can
For the
you
people who
explain
aren't listening, right.
the chart?
For the people, I'm
So,
sorry. For the people
yes,
who are not
we are not
watching, they're
familiar.
listening. Exactly. They're listening. Okay, so basically, this is a chart that talks about your consciousness and on a frequency band of how your frequency is raised or if it's lowered by certain emotions. So, perfect example, I'll give you shame is on a frequency band of 20.
And so therefore, when we're in shame, there is
Mhm.
what would you say is going
You're
on?
bringing it. You basically, it's hard to vibrate at anything that's going to make you feel good. And yes, exactly. It's going to be hard for you to stay in a good mode. It's going to be hard for you to magnetize anything in your life that you're going to really feel great about if you're constantly vibrating at the frequency of shame.
Okay,
So,
shame
and,
just
and it,
brings
yes, and it helps to kind of repeat the pattern of
okay.
cycling over and over again. The higher those numbers are, the easier it is to stay in a positive state, and easier it is for you to stay more manifesting what you want in your life, what you want to create. It makes it easier for those things to happen in your life.
I'm surprised that anger is like 150. For me, when I'm in anger, nothing. I can't vibrate to anything. I only vibrate to more anger. It feels like anger would be a lower frequency, but I see it's 150.
And I'm
What's your
thinking the why anger is why it's 150 is because anger is not always negative. You can have righteous anger for the right reason. And I
yes?
think so. I think a lot of times the ones you see like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, those ones are more like stuck energies. You
I,
feel it, but it's more like you're internalizing it, and it's mostly happening to you to where it's not being as far as projected out as much. It's more of you're gonna feel this more than anybody else. When you start getting the anger, it's more like, okay, I'm done with this. And I have a right to be angry. And so I think that's another reason why, because I don't think anger is always a bad thing. A lot of people try to, even especially with women, oh, be nice, be a
oh,
good girl, be tolerant, be this. And then you're holding in all this anger because you're tired of accepting something
you're
that you're not
you're
happy with.
suppressing all that anger.
There you go.
And I was going to say, I was just listening and reading how so much suppression leads to autoimmune diseases, and that 80% of women have the autoimmune diseases because we are encouraged not to feel that
There you
way.
go.
Oh, be nice, we got
There
to
you
come.
go.
Yeah. So that is, yes, I see what you're saying, being stuck there. Um, oh, there was one other part, Joe, if you put that back up. So I just would like to speak to love, joy, peace, and
Enlightenment.
yes, I was going to say entertainment, but enlightenment. Yes,
Yes.
speak to those frequencies and what that allows and what happens when we're in those frequencies.
Oh, because of then what people call miracles, which also some believe, like, there it's not miracles. It's just that this stuff would happen to you naturally if you stayed in a higher state of being and a higher state of living. These things would happen naturally. So this is like your miracles. Everything's working out in your life. Easy. Things are happening easier. Things just like, a perfect example, a client was like, I didn't know how me and my son was going to get to the stem cells center to get treatment, and everything just fell into place.
Okay. And Mika, so how do we stay in those higher vibrational frequencies?
Well, with the comment, actually, let me show you before we get to, as I called it, I named it the Grief Be Gone kit.
Ah,
Let's.
I will up too.
So I wanted to do the soul contract real quick to give people an understanding of how you can pick this up energetically, and you can see a blueprint even just looking at a soul contract about this stuff.
And if you
So
just explain the soul contract as we're looking at it, I guess.
okay, yeah. Okay, a little quick number about the soul contract. It's basically they call it the numerology of Moses. It comes on a Star of David. The star that it's pointing up is all about your basically your spiritual talents and goals and what you want to accomplish here this time. And then your physical ones are the triangle that is pointing down, which will be all the physical aspects of what you're going to be doing while you're here in this time. The middle part of the star holds your soul destiny. It's like, this is what I'm here to do. This is, and usually if most people, if you're not on that path and you're not feeling like you're doing what you need to do, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel like something's missing. So when we look at the soul contract for grief, I would look in the karma sections. Why? Because your karma is the things that you're going to work through in this time in your life. So there are going to be your challenges. That's going to be where you might get stuck and then you go off your path and then come back onto your path, things like that. So karma, for instance, here for 5, one of the karmic things that will be for 5 would be speaking your truth. If you don't speak your truth, if you don't express it, and you're not living your truth in your life, you're going to find grief in the way that you carry yourself throughout life, because you're going to feel like you're not heard, for one, and that's going to cause you grief. And you're also going to notice year after year that you feel shut down. Usually this happens in your childhood too. A lot of times with 5s, we notice that in karma, they've had issues when they were children being shut down and their voice not being heard. And they wind up going through life with the same issues and this kind of grief that I don't know why I'm sad, but I don't feel heard. I don't feel like people understand me. And they also wind up having abuse that manifests through that 5 in the karma section too. And it's regaining their power in this way and overcoming it. So that's one way you can see where they would have grief in their life if they have a 5 in that position. Now, if you see in the spiritual aspects, the 19-1, now that would be coming from hard work and achieving your spiritual goals. So if you're not naturally a spiritual person, you're probably going to have a tougher time with life than average, and you're going to know it. You're going to be one of those people that always feel like things aren't going right for you because you're not working on those spiritual goals. And it's already going to be a tough road, even if you are working on those spiritual goals. So that's where you can find your grief, because unconsciously you're going to feel that grief and you're not going to know exactly what's going on and quite be able to figure it out for the most part. And then especially if you're not helping other people to achieve their spiritual goals, this will be very challenging for you. So you'll have this unseen, something feels wrong. I feel like there's a loss somewhere, but I can't place it and put my finger on it. So this gives you an idea too, how energetically you can find those things and patterns, even when you're looking at something that has to do with numerology and astrology.
Okay, alrighty. And when do you find this helpful in your practice in dealing with
you get to understand where people's backgrounds and histories and where they're coming from, where their karmic problems or issues are coming from. So a lot of people come to you with these soul contracts is because that's what they feel. They feel something is off in their life. They're not sure exactly why. Just like if somebody's learning about their astrology chart, your astrology chart is only about a energetic point of who that person is when they came into this world. You have your transits to tell you as you go through life what you may experience as you go through life, but that's your energetic blueprint that's telling you this is this kind of stuff that you are going to probably be really good at. These are the kind of stuff that you're going to probably have challenges in. These are the kind of stuff you're going to have to be working on with other people. All that stuff is in there. So when people come for these types of charts, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for those missing pieces that they can't normally find on their own.
And also helping them to for lack of a better word, accentuate the positive, to look at those things, those aspects of your life or from your soul contract.
Exactly.
You can really excel and then have that kind of energy spreading out throughout if you are moving in that direction.
Right. And I just focus on that. I just focus on the karma area just because of the fact that we're specifically talking about grief and different types of grief and how you can pick up on what it is. But yeah, all that stuff that you mentioned for sure, Bonnie, is definitely in those those vibrations of those numbers and where they're placed and everything. And also, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say I like the dialogue because we want to offer, or my idea is to offer people different modalities, offer people other ways of thinking around grief. You never know what's going to hit somebody. We're all so individual. We're all so different. You never know what your, pardon the pun, your soul's going to resonate too when it hears it. It's like, bingo, I've been looking for soul contract. That is me.
Exactly.
Or, wow, let me find out a little bit more about soul contracts. And this is one of the things, Mika, that I want to say. This is the beauty of being in grief, because it will, if you're leaning into, it opens you up to explore. It opens you up to see what else you can do, to see other ways that you can go and be in the world. So I just wanted to put that in there as to why.
I love it.
Yeah, the frequency and the soul contract.
Yes, I love it. I'm gonna go ahead and go to this Grief Be Gone kit, because I don't want to make sure I don't I want to make sure I cover this before we run out of time. But one of the things for helping to release your grief, making sure you're clearing your space. Make sure you don't have stagnant energy in your surroundings. You're airing everything out. You're making sure everything is clean. Whatever is there, you really want it to be there. And then you set your intentions while you're doing all of this, and you're wiping everything down and washing the walls and all these things. You want to make sure that, okay, I'm clearing out all those things that would even remind me of that grief in my environment. I'm taking those things out of there. You can use like spritzers. If you don't have a diffuser, you can put in certain oils that will be awesome for that. You can smudge. I'm going to go into some of the oils too. But rosemary, sweetgrass, those are good purifying oils to get out any kind of stagnant, stuck energies. Palo Santo for spiritual purification and cleansing your energy. So you always want to make sure, even they use sometimes the Palo Santo sticks and say, for one of the reasons, I remember one of the teachers were talking about do it under the armpits and everything, because they felt like that's one of the places that, the energy gets stuck in, like, and trapped and stuff. So you want to even smudge sometimes. So I smudge my body a lot too. So good also to just interacting with others, because energetically, we also seem to forget, and that was also in the soul contract too. Some of the grief isn't even yours. Grief can get passed down to you inherently through energetic patterns as well. So sometimes, it's not even your energy. It's so it made me remind me of that when I said I sage my body after being out around a lot of people and things like that, because a lot of times when you don't know too what it is, or you don't understand like what's going on with you, sometimes it's because it's not your energy, but it just happens to be stuck in your energetic field. Kapal is another one that they like to use for raising your vibration and bringing in love, and it cleanses blockages too. So blockages around the heart, and as we know, you might have heard of this too. Grief likes to store itself close, like around the lungs. Of course, the lungs is in the heart area.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. So there's an acupressure point too that you can use right here when you do the prayer hands. Those knuckles from your thumbs, those press into that area, that acupressure point that helps there too for if you're breathing. There's another one here about 2 fingers down off of your clavicle bone that also, where you feel that little soft indentation, but it's kind of tender. That's another good part for working your acupressure points for grief as well. They have things like frankincense you can use, because it's going to amplify any energy and intention. So if you're trying to get out that grief. Myrrh and frankincense are also really cleansing and protective. So those are other good ones that you can use if you just want to cleanse out your environment. And when we get to go ahead.
No, these are incense that you would burn, or you would,
or resins, as well. Also, they have the dry smudge herb sticks and stuff that you're going to use as well.
Yeah, the bundles that.
Exactly. So now we're going to also talk about the oils. Like I was telling you, you can use a spritzer if you don't have a diffuser. Spritzer work just as fine. And mist your room. You can use oils like rose, and if rose is too expensive, you can also kind of cross over into rose geranium. And that's another good one for grief, and also really good for PTSD. And a lot of people, they don't even know that they have PTSD. It's just not for us who've been in the military and come out of the military. It's for it's for a lot of people going through a lot of different things now, PTSD. But a lot of times you hear it connected to trauma in the military and stuff like that. So sense of love and mothering is also wrapped up in that rose energy and that rose geranium energy. So yeah. And
we all need mothers. We all need that mother.
Exactly. The mothering. The mothering.
Energy.
Yes. And it's very reparative to the heart, in the heart chakra. Rosemary is another one it releases your reduces the stress hormones in your body, the cortisol, and rosemary. So and also too, it helps with feelings of anxiety.
Yes, I was just going to ask, how would you advise people to use the oils? You want a diffuser? Can you put some on your body?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Spritzing,
yes.
Diffusing. You can also put in a carrier oil, and it's up to the person. I mean, some people, I've been using essential oils every day for years, and some people might be like just getting started. You can try it out just in a spritzer bottle. If you want to use some towards the evening, put a few drops in a carrier oil, almond oil, coconut oil, any of those types of oils that you could use. You can use even shea butter or anything like that if you want to as well, but even olive oil, edible oils as well. And you can put a few drops in there and massage it on the area that where you're feeling it. And a lot of times people just go towards the heart naturally. You can also do a massage with it all over the body. All these oils are great no matter what. And rose geranium and rose is really great for the skin. Rosemary is good for circulation, so you can't go wrong with them anyway if you decide to do it all over. Ylang ylang, the emotional pain and grief that takes toll on your mental well-being. So ylang ylang is another good one to use for that. Ylang ylang is also great for the skin. So a lot of the oils cross over emotionally, spiritually, physically for you to use. Lavender, everybody's heard of lavender.
Yes.
Lavender is another great one that's mild enough to use everywhere. It helps with anger. If you're depressed and you don't know why, it helps bring those emotions up and make you feel more in control of your emotions. Plus you sleep better with lavender as well. So those are a couple of other ones that people can look into, and you can find more. But I just naming a few to get going here. And then flower essences, rescue remedy, helps with
flower therapy. Yes.
Helps with trauma and stress. The water violets, when you're withdrawing from company and you feel like you're isolated, or you feel like you just don't want to be around other people, that's another one that's good. White yarrow, so because it restores balance when you're emotionally depleted. And it slows, it helps you get through emotional healing and when you've been wounded from emotional scars. Box also has got a honeysuckle for those who are pining away for lost loves. You might have been in a relationship for years and somebody passed away.
Yeah, white honeysuckle. Yeah, because yearning is a strong emotion with grief. It's that yearning for what was, what you would desire, yearning. So you're saying which oil are we talking about for yearning?
Oh yeah, but honeysuckle.
Great.
Honeysuckle. Now we also have crystals that you can use that are good for this kind of stuff. And you okay, Bunny?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I thought I
we've got rose quartz. So we've got that for that soft love energy. And this is one of my favorite stones. I even like to use this. I put it on my skin. It's good for the skin. I like to take baths with it. And as we know, the vibration when you're in water is at least 5 times stronger than when you're out of water. So it's good to take baths when you're doing sound healing, and also too when you're using crystals and stuff too. The vibrations from them come out. Some of the crystals you can't put in water, like selenite, so you have to be a little careful and look up the ones that you can use in the water. But rose quartz is definitely one of those you can. Spirit quartz, it eases with the grief and bereavement. It'll help with that. We've got some other grief specific ones like amethyst, angelite, aqua aura quartz, I already said rose quartz, but jasper, smoky quartz help to bring out. And it's a good one to have in your environment in general when you're trying to keep your environment clear and take out the negativities and stuff of the environment. The same thing with onyx or like obsidian. Obsidians are also good for that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And one more thing I want to mention before we go and we wrap things up is shamanic work, because some people may feel that they still need help releasing their grief. They can't do it on their own. They might need help. And
Yes.
Shamans are a really good way for that, because they see other aspects, other dimensions of the person in other realms that they like to go into. They're okay going around in there when we might be a little more leery of wanting to know what's kind of lurking around in our environment of our energy. But they are good at going in there and saying, "Oh, I see this. Look like you still have this string or this cord from past situation here," and they can help you go in and pull out and clear those energetic cords or patterns that are there. And I know a couple of good shamans that I work with that can do that kind of stuff. So if anybody's interested in that kind of work, I'd be happy to recommend them.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, Mika, you're just a wealth of knowledge. I want to, Joe, can you put up Mika's contact information that you can contact Mika for more information? She does excellent work. You may want to contact her. There's her MikaLeone.com and Mika at MikaLeone.com. And there was also a website.
It's MikaLeone.com is my website. Or you can also do, I have the podcast that we didn't talk about, How to Heal, but you can find it on YouTube under How to Heal. And the website itself is How to Heal. It has the blogs and it links to the podcast there as well. And anybody got any questions, they can just, contact me and ask me.
Yes, Mika, you are just, as I said, a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. Lots of information. People don't even use encyclopedias anymore. Mika is the Google of.
I just love all the alternative health stuff and the modalities. So I just kind of soak it up type of thing.
Oh my gosh, you're just wonderful, just wonderful. And I will have you back. I know you're writing a book. So once that's underway or completed, please come back and share that information. And is there a working title to your book at this time?
Yes, Quieting the Mind, the Chaotic Mind. And that might be changed as well because of the soul contract things, but I think I got it down. And it'll be released less. Yeah.
Just quiet your mind and the title will come.
Exactly.
Oh, Mika, thank you so very much for being here with me and sharing this information. As I said, you never know who's going to hear this, and it'll be just the thing they needed to hear today. So I applaud you. So you go off and continue doing the great work that you do.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, audience. Yes.
Thank you, Mika. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
There we go. Nos vemos más tarde. Okay, we'll just take a break and we'll be right back. Hello, I guess I am back here with you. We had a fantastic guest on, Mika Leone Pettit, who talked to us about different modalities and ways of healing and moving through grief. And again, my guest was Mika Pettit Leone, and her website is MikaLeonePettit.com, so you can find her. And just such wonderful information. There were some things that were new for me. Soul contracts are new for me, but maybe you are well versed in soul contracts. And if you'd like more information on that, you contact Mika or do some, start some research on soul contracts. Some of the things that Mika was talking about was for grief healing is clearing our our physical spaces, clearing our physical spaces. And I have always known that clutter holds negative energy. So just clearing your physical space. Also, something about old wives' tales. They're not such old wives' tales. They're the truth. Remember spring cleaning when you would open the windows and, clean out the closets, scrub the floors, wash the windows. Spring cleaning, that was, an ancient way, not even ancient. Even when I was a young girl, there was spring cleaning. It was a part of the family tradition, getting everything out that we kept stored and hidden in during the winter months, and it's dark. So just, bringing more light and more space into your physical environment. I love Mika said, as you're doing this cleaning, set the intention. What is your intention for this clearing of your physical environment? Is it because you're making space for something new to come into your life? You're inviting new possibilities into your life. But if those spaces are already filled, there's no place to put them. So for me, that really resonated really well, because I do remember that as a part of my own personal history. Clearing of of our physical space. And as she said, even spritzing, burning resins or incense. As she said, rosemary, sweet grass, Palo Santo. And we all know, I should not assume, excuse me, it has been known or widely known that sage is very, very cleansing. Very cleansing. So, those sage bundles, and you can smudge yourself or have someone do that for you. I do have a friend that's allergic to that kind of sage smudging. So I made some essential oils that could be spritzed on, and that was just as helpful for her. So I really hope today that we invited you to explore some new areas of, as Mika calls it, grief relief kit, making your own grief relief kit. What works for you, because you know what scents really touch you, because we are so beautifully different, that different things work for different people. So don't be afraid to explore. Mika also talked about sound healing, and music is the most beautiful sound. There's also, of course, drumming, and there's shamanic drumming. There's crystal bowls that so many people use. Even the bell, what do you call it? It's a bell that you can, ringing of the bell, but you can also around the rim, and then it vibrates. It vibrates in your hand, vibrates up your arm, into your body. So using a bell and ringing of that bell, and these are things that you can do without having to go out and make an appointment or sign up for a class. These are things that you can do right where you are. And Mika had a great point about making it a daily practice as well. It's one thing to go off to a great sound spa or sound bath, as it's being called, but then to come home to, jackhammers, loud noises. It's like, where in your home can you find a place of silence so that you can explore the sound therapy or how healing sound can be. And being in silence too. That's another great way of healing, just to be in silence for a little bit. And if you're not a person that likes silence, just start out with 2 minutes a day, just 2 minutes, and let it gradually build up. So I just thank Mika for sharing with us so many new, wonderful modalities to help us move through grief. So the many faces of grief and the many faces of the healing modalities for grief. And I am going to say thank you for this part of the show. And just want to encourage you to check out the website, newthoughtmedia.com. Check out the website. So many wonderful programs that are on and growing and expanding and adding to the programming that is already on. I want to put a plug in at 4 this afternoon. 4 Mountain Time is a Circle of Peace. We have Thursday. Choose Your Creative Superpower with Zoe DeMoro. And that's on at 12 noon Mountain Time. So check that out. Choose Your Creative Superpower. Also, Joe, we have the Miracle of Prosperity with Reverend Jim Webb, and he was a guest on my program a couple months back. And all of the programs for Your Doula for Grief are archived right here on New Thought Media Network, and also on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and look for Your Doula for Grief, and you'll find the Miracle of Prosperity that Reverend Jim Webb hosts on Sunday evening. We also have the Cosmic Prayer that comes on a couple hours before Your Doula for Grief. You can also check Cosmic Prayer out. Wednesdays we have Rockin' the Love at 12 noon with Robin and Bill Olmstead. So you're just in good company here. You're in safe hands when you tune in to New Thought Media Network. So let's make a contribution, make a pledge, so that you can continue to have really quality programming right in the privacy of your home, right at the click of your fingertips. You can have what it is that you need. So I thank you so much for tuning in to Your Doula for Grief. And again, I'm Bonnie Gonzalez, and I am a grief coach, a registered nurse, and a religious science practitioner. And I do offer grief coaching for those that are in need, to help you to continue to move through your grief and to befriend your grief more than anything, and to honor it. So again, I just thank you for joining me today. And it's been fantastic. And I'll be back next Monday. Why don't you come back next Monday? Bring a friend, or let someone know out there that New Thought Media is having quality programming. So do make a donation, and I so thank you for listening, and can't wait to be with you again. Ciao now. Bye-bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.